This is stock, my friends. If you have never grown stock flowers, they're beautiful, they're fragrant, they are blooming for us like at Mother's Day when we get them started early enough. Hey, flower friends, it is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and how about it? I was just sitting here bragging on and loving on my stock seedlings here. I call them the overachiever seedling. Look, they have excellent germination usually. You know, I mean, this is just amazing. This is our iron pastels mix. So this is a mix of beautiful colors, but more on all of that in the show. All right. So friends, today on the show, you're going to learn how to make your own soil blocking mix. I'm going to be doing seed starting demonstrations with soil blocking, see what I'm starting now and meet some of my seedlings. I can't wait to share them with you. And also, you know, we do a prize drawing for in-app viewers who are watching live, and that's always so fun. And I will be doing the Q&A at the end of the show. And if you'd like to submit a question for me to try to answer, and it's cold in here today, y'all. Oh, there's the heat coming on. If you'd like to submit a question in the comments, just put @Lisa and whatever your question is. And then at the end of the show, Jessie will gather those up and feed me a few, and we'll try to answer them for you. So, and also, friends, on the app, you know, you can share with your friends and invite them to come over. That's what that little arrow down there at the bottom is. And we love when you invite your friends to come join us. And friends, just a reminder that please double check your email address and your cell phone number here in the app. We need that for shipping. So please double check that. And friends, if you are just finding us on social media, I am so glad you came upon us. But what I want you to know is that we have a free phone app, and this is what it looks like when you're in the app. See, you can see all the conversations going on down here. There's a lot of great reasons why you want to be in the app. One, you can communicate with the other live viewers. Secondly, you can participate in the giveaway. You can submit questions. You can make wish lists, a favorites list, and just a lot of great stuff. Now, to get the app, it's free, y'all. All you have to do is jump over to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, and we have two apps. There's the Shop app and the Learn app. You want the Shop app is what I'm inside of right now. It takes about 60 seconds to download it and come right back in here, and we'll be right here waiting for you, so you'll just have a lot more fun. So try that out. And also, the best part of having our app is we offer special shipping rates here inside the app. They do not apply to our website. Like seed packet only orders ship for free. If you just order seed packets, we pay the shipping. Secondly, there is a cap on product shipping. It's $11.95. Doesn't matter how many products you purchase, it's just $11.95. We do ship to all 50 of the United States. And remember, this special shipping offer is only available here inside the app. It's not available on our big website. Now, frequently we sell out of things that I'm demonstrating or talking about here inside the show. So if you go to a product and it says, whoops, out of stock, get notified. You might want to do that because our website and our app do not communicate. Frequently, the team is bringing over more stock from the big website, and that just means if that's happening and once it gets in, you'll just get a little ding on your phone that you can grab that if you'd like. Now, friends, we absolutely love seeing the sunflower emojis. Those are our TGW family sending us little love balls, I call them. Look, see, that's part of our logo. And who is our family? Those are our online course students and members of my private Flower Farmer Club. And we absolutely, it really makes my heart swoon. So thank you guys so much for doing that. Now it's time to, if you want to participate in the $25 giveaway, get on that list, there you go. Get on that wait list, and that's what we pull from at the end of the show. It's a $25 store credit for in-app viewers if you are the lucky winner, right? And we also, friends, want to just thank you all so much for all of your orders. It's just really blown us away, all of your support for our small family business. And we are working through shipping your products in the order that we got the orders and going as fast as we can. We have more people working. We're working longer hours. And so please, we appreciate your patience so very, very much. And we are working to get your order to you today if you're waiting. So, tips of the day. So there's 4 big questions about making your own block and mix that we hear a lot. And I thought I would talk about that today, right? So what is blocking mix? So blocking mix, or soil blocking mix, is what we use to make soil blocks, which is the method of seed starting that we do. It is not regular potting soil or regular seed starting mix. All of those are made to go into containers. So they're kind of fluffy, and they're real lightweight, and they just don't hold up very well because in soil blocking, the block is the container, okay? And so blocking mix is made to be dense, and the blocks hold together, and there's nutrients needed for great seedling growth, and it's just perfect for soil blocking. And so, can I just buy soil blocking mix? Yes, you definitely can. So we sell the ready-made mix, and it's basically sift and go. So it means like you don't have to do any mixing. You just add water. You don't even have to think about it. You just add water and mix. And I really recommend, if you're learning how to soil block, that you get ready-made mix at least the first time so that you master the technique and the texture of the soil blocks, right? And so a soil blocking mix, I'll show you here shortly in the show, but you can get a small bag for $15.95, and that, oh, there you go. Did you get it? So here it is. This is a 6-quart bag of blocking mix. It's $15.95, and this little bag will make 500 to 600 of those little blocks that you're going to see here in just a few minutes. So this, you just literally sift and add water, and you're ready to go. So why would somebody choose to make their own block and mix at home? Well, basically, the most important thing is it's cost effective, right? Shipping soil is expensive. And people, if you're really getting started, basically, especially farmers, they need a lot of blocking mix. So for people that need larger quantities, making your own is so simple. So how do I make it? So I think that January and February are the perfect months to actually prepare all the ingredients. And so the recipe makes about 20 cups of blocking mix. It's basically, it's about this much volume. All this is about 20 cups. So the recipe, which is readily available on all of our products that pertain to soil blocking on our website, but it is 16 cups of sifted either peat moss or cocoa fiber. And you can get cocoa fiber bricks over at thegardenersworkshop.com if you'd like those, along with 4 cups of sifted finished compost. Any kind. The important thing is that it's completely cooked and finished, and a half a cup of the nutrient mix. So this time of the year, I like to gather all those ingredients and get them prepared, meaning getting them sifted, having them on hand so that when it's time to soil block, you literally just grab them. So when you're ready, when you have them all prepared, we have our soil blocking tray. And if I had my galvanized trash cans over here, in that trash can, I wanted to show y'all this. So we don't sell these, but this is what I use. And I actually think there is a link to this on our resources page at the Gardener's Workshop to these actual 8-cup measuring cups. So I use the 8-cup scoop to make my recipe. I'd put 3 cups of the finished blocking mix. Or if you're gonna pull 16 cups of your either cocoa fiber or peat moss, dump it in your tray. Then you're gonna scoop your 4 cups of compost and dump it in your tray. Then you're gonna get a 1/2 cup of the blocking mix, which is actually powdered green sand and rock phosphate. And you're gonna mix them up in your tray, and then you're gonna add an equal amount of water, which is about 6 to 7 cups. It just depends. And you just mix them all up. You want the consistency to be like wet oatmeal, right? And you wanna know what I use to mix all this stuff together? Y'all, it's a potato masher. I have found that to be the best tool for mixing the soil with the water and mixing it. And I do like to mix all the dry ingredients together before I add any water. Did you want to ask?
Can you read the recipe one more time?
Yes. So the recipe is 16 cups of sifted peat moss or cocoa fiber, 4 cups of sifted compost, and a 1/2 cup of the blocking mix. And this is green sand and rock phosphate powder. You can see that it's really fine powder. And you mix the dry ingredients up, and then you add the water, and you're ready to go, right? To make blockers, or to make blocks. And so don't worry about, oh, I don't need that much, I'm only starting a few blocks. I always make a full recipe, make your blocks, and if there's leftovers, you simply let it dry out. You don't ever store it wet. I just put my tray up on a shelf, let it dry out, and then you just re-wet it the next time. So when you buy the ready-made bag, this, you do not need to add this. That is already in here, right? So no nutrients are needed when you buy the ready-made. You just sift, add water, and you're ready to go. Now, this is, we call it our DIY blocking mixture. And y'all, honestly, we didn't used to sell this. We started selling this about 7 or 8 years ago because these products used to be available readily. They aren't as easy to find now. So we made the nutrient mix. This bag makes approximately 12 recipes. So you add your peat moss or cocoa fiber and compost to this, and that makes your blocking mix. So this is $19.95, and it'll have you ready to roll to make a lot of blocking mix at home. Now, this is our sifter and sieve. This perfectly on a 5-gallon bucket. Did you want me to show?
No.
Yeah, okay. You can see there's a few chunks here. That's what y'all are be so surprised how many chunks are in everything. Peat moss, cocoa fiber, even in the ready-made mix. All of these mixes that we use and recommend that you make are all living soils. The chunks that are in our ready-made mix, y'all, that is good stuff. You just don't want it in your seed start, your soil blocking mix. That's where the biology lives in our blocking mix, right? So when you sift and get these chunks out, just put them out in your garden. You don't want to throw them away. But this is $24.95. It fits beautifully on a 5-gallon bucket, which makes this job so easy. And I'll tell you, this is the time of the year. Set up a table outdoors. It's kind of dusty, so you don't want to do it inside. Do it on a sunny afternoon. Get you a bale of peat moss or your cocoa fiber, all incorporated or, reconstituted with water. And just sift what you think you need for the season. And then do the same thing with compost. And we buy bags of finished compost to make our own. And just sift them. Now, that's $24.95. But guess what the deal of the day is, y'all? The soil set. So the soil set includes the sifter, but it also has, if I can get it out, the bag of nutrient mix, which we just looked at, right? It also includes the aluminum seed pan, which we use to sow all of our seeds, as well as our toothpick dispenser with toothpicks in it, those are like our seed sowing tools that we love so much. This set also includes the fungus gnat fighting kit and the sifter. Now, we had this as a set for $69.11. And that's discounted because we bundled it together. But it's 20% off today, y'all. So you can get this for $55.29 for all of this stuff for probably, I would think, about a 25% savings over buying all this stuff separately. So that is the deal of the day. And let's see, today's Friday. This would be available until Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, friends? Don't miss out on that.
She said buy 2 sifters so somebody can help you.
Oh, what a great idea. That is so very, very, and it's also kind of fun to have a friend out there doing it with you. Sifting is the same thing as hoeing to me. I get a lot of good thinking done then. So friends, I just want to remind everybody, be sure you hit the button to get on the list for what we're pulling from at the end of the show for a $25 store credit, right? All right. So, and another reminder, remember to, if you have questions, post it in the comments at Lisa and put whatever your question is, and I'll do my best to answer some of those at the very end. So now I'm going to share with you some of my seedlings, as well as some of the stuff that I'm starting now, right? So first up, you may have heard me say before, the first seed that we start in a new year, the very first week of work, is eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is really hard to see, y'all. Can you tell that the stems are maroon? So it's really hard to see them just all popping up here. Eucalyptus is the very first seed that I start because it's a warm season tender annual. First off, it's the only warm season I'm talking about today. It's a super slow grower. I start eucalyptus 12 to 16 weeks. That's 3 to 4 months before it's supposed to be planted. And I don't plant it till mid-April. So eucalyptus, and let me just show you. That is the silver dollar, which is the most recognized eucalyptus. And eucalyptus, is not hard to get it to germinate. Those were started January 6th, and it's the 16th, so they're 10 days old. They've been cracked or up for probably about 4 days. They're not hard to get to sprout. It's that it takes so long to grow them up. There's just a lot of opportunity for us to kill them in the tray, overwatering them, not warming them up enough. So that is eucalyptus. Now look at these little beauties. If you're in the club, you know that we started these seeds together January 7th. This is Godicia, or they call it now Clarkia. This is the white, it's a grace, and look at all of those beautiful seedlings. And if you haven't grown Godicia, I turned it upside down. Look at that. Who doesn't need more white flowers? For us, it's an incredible brancher, very highly productive, and just a really wonderful flower to grow. And then we also have, y'all, this is, I don't know if you have my book, Cut Flower Handbook. There is just some beautiful Godicia or Clarkia in there. This is the salmon. Look how pretty that is. And look at my seedlings. This is the salmon. And these guys are just coming along. Really love these. And by the way, so this is 100 of the small soil blocks on this tray. They will grow up in this size block. They do not get bumped up to anything, y'all. It's an incredible labor saver, in addition to growing a superior seedling, in my opinion. All right, now, next up, the overachiever seedlings. Y'all, this is what we're gonna be looking at. This is stock, and this is the pastels mix. What pretty, beautiful colors, and look at it, y'all. What a showboat. How pretty, and these were started January 6th, 10 days old. And we normally have stock for Mother's Day. I start eucalyptus first, and then the next seed that started later that morning is all of our stocks. And I have probably 8 trays of stocks here. And then, wait till y'all see these. Do y'all know Billy? This is Billy Balls. And this one is Sunball, which is, we have 2 varieties now. Sunball is one that I am growing for the first time this year. It's supposed to be a little bit bigger balls. We're gonna see, because we have it growing side by side in my garden. But for season extension, we started in very early spring, and y'all, meet Billy Balls. This is Craspedia, and you can see it is still cracking. We got lots of seedlings still coming along. So very, very fun. Those balls dry just like they look, that color. They hold it. They are so amazing. And no one has ever said they've had enough of this color. This is the blue cockadee scabiosus or pincushion flower. And look at these babies. And I love, oh gosh, I wish y'all could see this. Let me show you. We get a lot of questions about, what do you call the badminton thing you hit?
Is it shuttlecock or birdie?
Birdie, that's it, birdie. You know, when you're playing badminton, the little birdie thing that's like a little cone-shaped looking netty thing, that's exactly what these seeds look like. And if you can see right there where my finger is, you can see that the seed has actually stuck on the stem. Yes, we poke those little seeds into the small block, pointy end down, and friends, here it is. There they go. Not every scabiosus comes like that. It just depends on how they process it. So the blue cockadee is a great one. There's 5 colors, of course, of which I grow all 5 of the scabbies. But the blue is always a favorite. And then silvery rose, straw flowers. I mean, just such, this one has like a lot of white with the pink. Really pretty and beautiful. We plant straw flowers only in our very early spring planting. And then this is the white. No one has ever had enough white flowers. If you're making bouquets or selling to commercial customers, oh, there you go. You could just never have enough white. And you know who else loves straw flowers? Native bees, y'all. I have the most amazing videos of little tiny bees with pollen breeches. If you've never seen pollen breeches, their back legs are poofy with pollen all over them, and they love straw flowers. So this is a very, very popular mix. This is the peach mix, and look at these babies. And do not ask me why. Why did these tall ones germinate first, and now look at all the ones that are coming along? I don't know, in the mix, if this is one color and those are another, who knows? But they're all germinated. That's all that matters to me, right? The peach mix, I will tell you that we succession plant straw flowers, and we plant them about every 4 to 6 weeks, starting with our very early spring, because you'd love to have that peach mix in late summer and fall, right? And then look, y'all, this is Rudbeckia or Black-Eyed Susan Chimchimney. And this is a great one to grow if you have a strong pest pressure at this point in time because you haven't restored the natural order of your garden yet, y'all. My book, Vegetables Love Flowers, will guide you on that. This particular Rudbeckia, pests just leave it alone. Look at the petals. They're fluted. They're not flat petals. And so this is one that is a lot of fun. It's a lot of different, a lot of different shades. Really love that one. And then here's another great Rudbeckia, Black-Eyed Susan. This is Indian Summer. Y'all, this is one of the first 3 flowers I ever grew as a flower farmer 30 years ago. This is like 6 inches across. Rudbeckias are native. They are a strong food source for native bees. You want to plant all these, you can. We plant all of them in the fall, but we plant some of them again in very early spring just to extend the season, right? And then this is a great one for bouquets. And what makes this one so great? Look how bright it is. It has a green eye instead of a brown eye. This is Prairie Sun. And it's not huge, which makes it really usable. Really love this one. This is a great landscape garden plant too. If you just want to pop some in your landscape, you will absolutely love this plant. They just go on and on and on. And then lastly, everybody loves Sahara. And so look at all those different colors. And again, native bees really love all these black-eyed Susans. It would be a great idea to plant all your Rudbeckias somewhere where you could benefit from their reseeding behavior, which not all of them do it, but many of them do. And you'll just have them reseeding and have a beautiful garden. So how do I make those soil blocks? Let's look at that. Now, my tray is actually full of the ready-made mix, and I think I might need a little bit of water.
Water? Okay.
Yeah. So there's my potato masher, y'all. Hopefully everybody has one of these. And for the ready-made mix, we just add some water. And I really am a believer in the whole measuring thing because it just makes it quicker, y'all. I'm all about quick, if you haven't noticed that yet. So when I measure my soil blocking mix into this tray, I know that there's approximately 20 cups, and you want to put 3 parts of blocking mix to 1 part water. So that's why earlier I was saying for my mix, I like to put 3 scoops of my blocking mix in here, and then I put 1 full scoop of water. That kind of evens it out. Well, this has been sitting here for a couple of days, so I'm just adding a little to get it re-moistened. If you have trouble getting your blocks out of your tool really nice, chances are really good that either your blocker is dirty, which there's a good chance that could be mine, or it's not wet enough. Say, it looks kind of clean. Susie cleaned it. I knew she would. All right. So let's take a look here. So you can see my blocking mix is kind of wet. The way you use a blocker is you hold onto the stationary bar and push it down into the blocking mix. And I like to do it twice to make sure that we have look at that. My potato masher just broke. This potato masher is so old, y'all. So old. All right, still working though. So you strike the bottom off to make it flat. And the part about soil blocking is that I tweaked it into a tabletop method. We use flat bottom trays with no drainage holes. And we use these reusable foam trays over and over for years, y'all. They hold up. All right, so you place your tool on your tray, and then you just squeeze the plunger, and literally, we just made 20 of the best blocks, right? We just made 20 containers that quickly, right? So I'm not sowing seeds, right? All right, so how can you get started blocking? Sorry, y'all, I know. So we just made those 20 little containers that simple. And truly, so if you're seed starting another way potentially, let me show you how you can get started soil blocking. And I'm telling you, friends, once you do it, you will never go back. All right, so that is our soil block maker kit. Now this kit, look how much better it looks when it's brand new, right? We sell the original brand Ladbroke. These are made in England. We import them. So that's the small blocker that makes 20 of the little 3/4 inch blocks. It comes with a bag of the mix, right? And then it also includes your choice of either 3 cool season seeds or 3 warm season seeds. Those are all of our best sellers. And then it also comes with a set of 5 of our trays that holds 3 sets of 20, right? As well as the seed pan, the toothpicks, and little plant markers, which they're little wooden markers. I actually use them to mess around with my blocks if I need to. So you get all of this. Oh, it's stuck. And you get my Seed Starting Made Easy online course. You have lifetime unlimited access to this. This takes you through starting them, growing them up, hardening them off, getting them planted, as well as a session on sowing seeds out in the garden. So you get all of this for $89.87, and that is 19% off buying all this stuff separately. So that is a great opportunity. And that'll get you all started with soil blocking. All right, next up. So these reusable foam trays, we offer several sizes because I use several different sizes, right? So this one will hold 20 of those 3/4 inch blocks, one set of 20. That's the mini, it's $1.95. And then this is the small, which will actually hold either 2 sets of 20 or 2 sets of the 2-inch blocks, which would be a total of 8 blocks on this one. $2.95. All of these are available in 25 packs. And then this is the one that actually comes in the kit that holds 3 sets of 20. This is $3.95. And again, we just mark them. We use masking tape to mark our trays, and you just wash them up and keep reusing them year after year. Now, I'm often asked, do you even use a seedling heat mat with Cool Season Hardy Annuals? Yes, you do, friends. Temperature is what triggers the seeds to actually know when to sprout. So they don't need it as hot as our warm season stuff does, but they still need it to be warmer. And so this is the seedling heat mat. It has a built-in thermostat that is triggered off of the air temperature. And so if let's just say your house is 70 degrees. Now, most seeds start best when they're 75 to 85 degrees. And that's talking soil temperature, y'all. If your house is 70 to air temperature, your mass of soil or a glass of water is all typically 15 to 20 degrees cooler than your air temperature. So if your house is 70, your soil is 50 to 55 degrees. Most seeds sprout at 75 to 85 degrees. That explains why people have trouble getting them to sprout. This heats up, guess what? 15 to 20 degrees warmer than the surrounding air temperature. So the seedling heat mat makes a huge, huge difference. And so what's the next thing? So once 50% of the seedlings start to show signs of life, of anything, cracking, popping up, you move them off of the heat mat over to your grow light, which you can see it back here. This is our little tabletop 24-inch by about 12 inches, and it supports your seedlings. And we have it hooked to a timer, which that's in the app too, isn't it? Yeah. So if you plug it into a timer, it's 16 hours a day. Our lights come on at 6 a.m. in the morning and go off at 10 p.m. at night. And that's what keeps your seedlings short, stocky, dark green, and healthy, y'all. Bright light. And so the tabletop grow light is 24 inches. And I was looking to see, it's 22 inches. And it does not say how wide it is, but I am speculating. Oh, that's right. So it's like 8 inches wide. You could pop that anywhere in your home. So that is the tabletop grow light is $81.95. And that will get you going in a very small space. That's another thing that's just so great about soil blocking, right? It just doesn't take much space.
What about, do you use the heat mat and the grow light?
So somebody's asked, do we use the heat mat and the grow light at the same time? No, we do not. When you use the heat mat, use the heat mat to put your trays on after you sow your seeds, and then once you see 50% of them cracking, you then move them off the heat and move them over to your other location where your grow light is. You don't want to toast your stuff from bottom and top, right? So you do not need to use them at the same time. All right. The next step is a way that we help a lot of the seeds that we sow are surface sown seeds, so they're really susceptible to drying out. So we use wide weave burlap. And so we use this, so we sow our seeds, we take them in and put them on a seedling heat mat. And by the way, for Cool Season Hardy Annuals, to cool our heat mat down just a smidgen, is we actually put cookie cooling racks on top of the heat mat and put the trays on that. That just gives a little air buffer where it's still warm going up, but it's not as hot like we like it to be for our warm season stuff. So we sow our seeds, we take the tray in and we put them on the racks, cookie cooling racks, and then we just lay a appropriate sized piece of burlap on top of the blocks, and that traps moisture, but it allows air circulation. When I go out to water each morning, I just pull the burlap back, take care of my watering duties, and once I see cracking start to happen, germination starting, I take the burlap off. The job is done, and you don't want one of your seedlings to pop through that hole, because then you'll rip it out the next time you take it up. So this is a 3 foot by 3 foot piece. You can use it big or you can cut it up to size, and it's $3.95.
I had a question. If the seed needs light to germinate, should I cover them with a burlap but leave the grow light on?
Good question. So somebody's asking if the seed needs light to germinate, which the seed packet tells you that. Do I use the burlap and leave the grow light? So when it says, this is probably the most confusing thing that I had to figure out over the years. When a seed says that it needs light to germinate, it does need ambient light, room light. But what it needs more than that is actually oxygen. And so that means that's why they don't want you to bury the seed under a bunch of soil, right? So the burlap does not block enough light. So you would lay your burlap down, your grow light's over across the room or wherever your grow light is. You use the burlap on the heat mat only in the first few days before they start cracking, and that's enough ambient light gets to that, but it's more importantly, it's the oxygen that comes through that burlap that is so important. Does that answer that?
Yes. And when you say crack open, do you mean when they have come above the soil block or just barely starting to crack?
So a crack to me is a sign of life and that they're starting to sprout. If I look on a tray and I see 3 sprouts, but 30 signs that they're getting ready to sprout, they're starting to crack or do something, that's considered to me sprouting. If they're starting, the process has been done. So yeah, just cracking is considered sprouting. Okay. All right, so, because y'all, we're getting into the whole gardening season time, I want to show you some of my very favorite gardening tools, the stuff that, we only sell the same stuff that we use here on the farm, right? And these gloves are the best ever. They are the Atlas lightweight gloves, nitrile. We can sow seeds in these. You just don't feel like you have anything on. They come from extra small to large. They tend to run a little big. This is a medium. And I typically wear a large. I kind of have long fingers. And so you want it to fit like a surgeon's glove without any excess fabric on your hand. That's what makes you feel like you can do anything. And y'all, they are $8.95 a pair. I mean, they are such a good price. So you can get 1 pair for $8.95, or you can buy a 4-pack of assorted for $31.95. These are the best gifts you will ever give a gardening friend. And so again, from extra small, as we age, our hands atrophy. We sell so many extra smalls, y'all. And so if you know somebody with a small hand, they would love you for a pair of extra smalls. So those are the nitrile touch, or the lightweight Atlas Touch. So these are also Atlas, and they're just more heavy duty. And they just are a little bit thicker, and same sizing, except they come from small to extra large. But it's a unisex sizing. We have brick masons, golfers, quilters that wear both of these gloves. They just do an incredible, they're just so durable is what we find. They just last forever. You can wash them, and they are the same price, $8.95 for one, or a 4-pack for $31.95. And that's another one. You just won't be sorry to have those around. So what I have added into my rotation in my grow room is these are our compost tea bags. This is what the bag looks like. And I try to do this for Friday's watering in the grow room. And so on Thursday, when I finish watering, I drop one of these in my watering can and let it sit overnight, and then water with that water the next day. And this is just really adding your biology back into your blocks, right? This has living stuff. And so it's got all kinds of directions and information. You get 12 tea bags for $18.95. And this is great compost, y'all. Don't throw it away. Of course, put it in a container or out in your garden. So that is $18.95 for a 12 pack. And we just really love it. All right. So that's Fridays. On Mondays in my grow room, none of this is extra work. It's just added to my watering can. On Mondays, I add the Neptune seaweed and fish liquid fertilizer. I use the houseplant dosing, which is 1 tablespoon to a gallon. So this really goes a long way. It's $18.95. I have probably used this for close to 3 decades now. Love this stuff. You can actually use it in your garden for a soil drench, which just means you're pouring it on your soil, or you can sprinkle it on your foliage. So that is Mondays in my grow room. And then I showed you earlier in the soil set, that's the deal of the day, the fungus gnat fighting kit. If you've never had fungus gnats, you don't ever want to have them. So the kit includes the sticky traps, which capture the adults like this, all these little bugs. Those were all fungus gnats flying around. And they're attracted to yellow, and this eliminates the adults. Well, to kill the larva that's developing in your moist soil, we put these bits in our watering can on Wednesdays. So it takes 4 tablespoons to a gallon. If you're not using a gallon, don't make more than you use in 1 day, right? All of this stuff is biology, y'all. So it doesn't just sit there and wait. It'll die if you leave it sitting in a can for a day or two. Add it to your watering can, water with it, and that will eliminate any developing larvae in your soil blocks. You definitely want to practice fungus gnat control through prevention. The first week that we have seeds started in that grow room, all of this starts because you prevent this from happening. Because when you get fungus gnat outbreak in your grow room or in your home, it really takes a long time to capture them. So the mosquito bits are $14.95. And the, sorry, Susie, I thought it was the kit together. I didn't even look. And the sticky traps, which have 5 in here, are $9.95, and there's larger counts available over on our website. So you can get the kit or you can buy them separately. Now, we haven't talked about this in a long time. This is a product that we have sold since 2005, and we absolutely love it. This is our kitchen compost bucket. These are made in England, and we love them because of their simplicity. So this has a snug fitting lid. You do not need to have filters and all that stuff. When you practice kitchen composting, here's the story. You only put in here, you don't ever put meat scraps or anything cooked. It's for vegetables and fruits, maybe the peeling of fruit. But the key is I always like to chop it up small. Like you would never put a broccoli stalk in here, right? But if you chopped up a broccoli stalk pretty little, which means it breaks down so much quicker, that's the kind of stuff you put in here. You don't have to worry about odor because you're going to dump it out into your compost heap 2 times a week. The little bucket is useful for other things. I know people that keep bird seed in it and do different things, but we love this. It's $15.95. And this would also be a great place for a home gardener to keep their ingredients for their soil blocking mix, right? You can have a couple of those. So we love that. And then this is our giant scoop. And so this is like probably one of the funnest tools to use in your container garden. And it has a kind of a fairly, not sharp, but it's got an edge on it, which really makes it good for digging up transplants, digging up perhaps even like Lenten roses. It's just perfect for making soil and scooping it. This is $18.95, and it's just got a really nice handle. And I also have a really deep giant scoop. And I will say that I'm starting to use this one more. It just has a little bit more options and really love that. So friends, it is time to wrap it up here. Be sure if you want to stick around for the Q&A, it'll be all the way at the end. And just a reminder that all those special shipping rates that I told you about, those are only available here inside the app. You cannot get those over on the website. And speaking of our website, we have so much stuff over there, y'all. We have so many videos. So there's a nutrient mix video.
It shows you making your
Is it on the product or on?
product itself.
Okay, so over on our website, if you go to the nutrient mix product, there's actually a video of me showing you how I actually do that. And we also have a blog about making your own mix. If you go to the blogs, which are under resources, and the blog has its own little search box within that, you put recipe in there and it'll bring it right up. And then remember, friends, you can connect with both of our podcasts over on the website, Field and Garden that I host, as well as Seed Talk with Lisa and Lane. And episode number 76 was soil blocking mix frequently asked questions. So that might be helpful for you. So, let's talk about resources of learning when you plant what. That is perhaps the frequent problem that we all faced, right? And so we have several resources that truly will clear the fog. And so it really starts with, first off, the Cut Flower Handbook, which includes warm and cool season and the whole process of setting up and taking care of and maintaining a cut flower garden. But it also features 66 different flowers, 25 warm, 41 cool, succession planting. It just really helps you to wrap it around. But more importantly to me, it lists on each flower's feature page all the favorite varieties. It has growing tips, shows you what the seedlings look like. It just has everything in there. Flower conditioning, when you cut it, where you cut it, has everything you need in it. It also, when you purchase the book from us, includes a link for you to download this PDF, which includes 6 flowers that wouldn't fit in the book, right? And if you print it at 85%, look, y'all, it fits in your book, meaning, it's not bigger than your cover. So that works really well. And so would love to sign a Cut Flower Handbook for you. And then I mentioned earlier about Vegetables Love Flowers. This book really shares my natural philosophy of how we garden and farm here, as well as it's not about vegetables, y'all. It's about why vegetables love growing in the presence of flowers. And that's by dropping a little cutting garden in your veggie patch and why you would want to do that, and then how to actually do it. One of the things I love about this book is it has diagrams in the back that kind of demonstrate what succession planting could look like. So Vegetables Love Flowers also has a bonus when it comes from us. It has a video book study, which was a lot of fun. I got to interview the photographer, Bob Scammerhorn, and it was just really a lot of fun. So this is really a good book. And y'all, this is the time of year you need to bear down and just take some time and do your homework, right? And then the book that started it all, y'all, Cool Flowers. Cool Flowers is my book that I wrote about the family of cool season hardy annuals. I didn't make this concept up, y'all. I just rekindled what our grandparents and great-grandparents already knew to do, planting these plants in cool to cold weather for the benefits. This little book is like baby step 1 in learning about how to win and plant this group of flowers. So this little book also comes with a video book study, and would love for you to have one of these. And your book study comes on the bookmarks. There's a QR code that you actually scan to get access to the book study. And so friends, would love for you to have that. And then the thing that is the biggest challenge for most of us is when orchestrating mentally when you plant what, and then when do you start the seeds. And friends, I have created the same big calendar that I've used on my farm here for 15 years. We've named it the Big Calendar Journal, and it includes my guide. It's a cut flower, seed starting, and planting guide. And I know that this is going to just pull the curtain back for so many people. So why is it so darn big? It's this big because you want to be able, I mean, particularly for flower farmers and avid gardeners, you want to actually have space to write your stuff. Here are the seeds that you just saw, the seedlings that I saw. This calendar is not only a big calendar, so it allows you to really write notes. It includes monthly tips. All 12 months have it. The second page in is my guide. This is really hard to flip midair, y'all. The guide walks you through. If I turn the page, this is like a circus show, right? All right. It also has, it's awesomely bound at the top and has this amazing hanger. This is the guide that is going to walk you through for your garden. This is how you customize. There's 9 different planting windows here, friends. You plug in your dates of when your first and last frost dates and do some counting on a calendar, this calendar or any calendar, to get your actual dates. Then it walks you through setting up your seed starting schedule. And then you write it all out on your big calendar. Then you just put your big calendar somewhere where you're in and out all the time, and you at a glance can see what you're supposed to do. The big calendar, when you follow the last page of the calendar, has even more of my tips on ways that I write on this calendar to create a journal that is actually useful, that you can look back on for years to plan your next garden and get better and better and better. So the Big Calendar Journal is $39.95. There's also a QR code right here, and that is for you to download my seed starting worksheet. Once you fill out your planting windows for your garden and you sit down with this, you're going to be able to just hammer out when you're supposed to start seeds. Friends, it's going to like clear the fog. You're finally going to master this calendar. Using this calendar is what made me the succession planter that I am today as a flower farmer. And I can't wait for you to get one. So we still have them available. It's $39.95. And some of these are, oh, there you go. So there's 66 flowers on my seed starting worksheet. And we also include my favorite pencil, because it erases great, and give you a string to actually tie it to your calendar so that you're never kind of wanting to write on it with a pen, right? So the Big Calendar Journal is $39.95, and friends, I'm telling you, it'll change everything for you. And go ahead.
The QR code on there also takes them to the replay.
Oh, and there's also on the QR code where the seed starting worksheet is, there's a recording of a workshop that I did walking through those 9 steps. So friends, it is really your gateway, I'm hoping, to a whole new season of having flowers. So friends, this Wednesday at 3 p.m. on our Instagram, Gardener's Workshop Farm, I'm doing Ask a Flower Farmer. And remember to meet us back here next Friday for the live show, 12 noon again. And I do a couple other shows. I do a Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I do a little show. And then also, friends, especially this time of the year, I do pop-ups, unannounced shows. And to be able to know about those, you need to be sure that your notifications are turned on here inside the app, and that way you'll get to join in on those also. And so, friends, we have a winner, and her name is Carla Vandegrind, you think? Sorry if I killed your name. Carla Vandegrind. And you have won $25 store credit, but you have to give us a shout out in the comments, Carla, and let us know that you're here. And as soon as you do that, one of the team members will drop the credit right into your onto your cart. So when you go to check out, it'll be there ready and waiting for you. So friends, stick around for the live Q&A, but if you're just heading out, thanks for joining us. Loved having you here today. And remember to please tell a friend.
Before
All
you
right.
start these, can you go over your schedule for Neptunes?
Oh, yeah. All right, so I'm going to tell you again what my weekly schedule is for watering in my grow room, right? So on Mondays, I add the Neptune's Harvest according to directions, 1 tablespoon to a gallon of water. On Wednesdays, I add the bits to kill the fungus gnat larva. And then on Fridays, you can do the compost. This does not happen every week. It won't hurt to do it every week. But this would be a Friday. Actually, I drop it in on Thursday and let it sit overnight. So Monday, fertilize. Wednesday, fungus gnat day. Friday, compost tea. Okay? All right. Where do you get the tray for mixing soils and seed blocking? So the green tray you saw me using. So I've seen several of similar trays. I've had that tray probably for 25 years, 30 years almost now. A kitty litter box works really well. What you want to be sure is that it's wide enough, at least like 24 inches, and that it can hold water. And so you can check online, put in gardening potting tray and see what you can find. I tell you, if you're a flower farmer and you want to mix a lot of blocking mix, you want to know what we used to use? One of those baby pools, the blue hard plastic ones. We would do all of our sifting and put it in there and mix it all up and then put it into big galvanized trash cans. What air temperature do cool seeds need? So the air temperature in our grow room our target is 65 to 70 degrees. And that's really focused on that the heat mats are also in there. And you don't want it to get too warm because it'll make the heat mats too hot, right? But once they are all off the heat mat and growing in that room, easily could bump it from 70 to 75. To get plants to germinate, cool flowers to germinate, it needs to be a little cooler, 65 to 70. But once they've all sprouted and they're growing in the same active space, warming up the air temperature some makes them grow faster, makes them dry out better. It just helps them overall. Could you explain a little further the first sentence on the sunflower planting instructions in the calendar? Let me look. Sunflowers. Each week, plant transplants or seeds of the same single stemmed variety. I wonder if that's what you're asking. So she does say the first sentence, right? The first sentence. Okay, so the reason that you plant the same one over and over again, maybe you're asking, is so that your timing is correct. So let's just say I'm a flower grower and I'm doing a little flower farmer's market and I want to have sunflowers to support my bouquets every week. If I change from different varieties each week, they all have, sunflowers can be as quick as 45 days from seed to bloom up to 120 days. There's so many different varieties. And if you start reading seed packets, you won't believe how many different days to bloom there are. If you start hopping around, your timing will be off. We only plant pro cuts. We even plant the different colors. Sometimes just planting a different color, even in the same series, they can be a few days off. But we're willing to run with that. So that's why we focus on planting the same single stemmed variety week after week, so that every week we had sunflowers to cut. If you come to a week and the sunflowers you thought you'd be cutting this week still have like 5, 10, 15, 20 more days because you planted a different variety, you will be kicking yourself. So that's what that's all about. I hope that was what you were asking. Where can we watch the recorded calendar how-to video? It is on the QR code that's on the calendar. That page that takes you to has the seed starting worksheet and the recorded workshop. I just added 2 to 3 inches of compost with biochar to my raised beds. When I plant seedlings, do I plant directly into the compost or move it aside to plant in my soil? You don't ever want to plant directly into straight compost. It just dries out. It's not going to hurt it. It's just that it does not hold moisture. Jenny Love and I talked about that on a podcast once. It's a rude awakening. You hear people talking about it, but neither one of us as experienced growers had good luck. You want your roots to make contact with soil. Yeah. I think I started my Persian crest and Covent baby's breath too early. They're a bit leggy. Should I scrap them and start over, bump up, or plant out as soon as possible? I don't know where you are, but Covent, I can't quite remember about Persian crest. Covent blooms really early. So I would say plant that stuff and give it some protection. Hoop it and row cover it to get it outside because it blooms. I'm thinking it blooms like the end of March or early May here. Early April. So if you start over again, what'll happen is they won't be tall enough when they start blooming because a lot of that stuff is on day length is what triggers that, right? I started Bupleurum in Ziploc bags outdoors. Should I start some inside instead? I don't know. Did they germinate? I don't know anything about winter sowing. We don't do it. Let's put it that way. I don't practice it, so I'm not familiar. But we start Bupleurum using a hack that is available. If you're in my club, it's in there. If you're not in my club, we have a free Facebook group called The Flower Farmer Show that you can get in, and it's pinned to the top. It's a video showing you how if you direct sow them, there's not enough heat outside to get them to sprout is the problem. So check that out. Can you demonstrate or tell us how you use the mosquito bits? Do you strain out the bits? I know, what a pain in the butt that is, isn't it? So I actually use a watering can that has a removable spout on it. It's plastic. And so I usually let that strain the water, and then I dump the bits. So please go let him know that we're still on. Sorry, carpenter knocking on the door. So that's how I strain the bits out. And, we have tried reusing them. There's no way to really know how long it may be effective for, right? If you wanted to put it in some house plants or something to see, but it's just risky to not know if it's not full strength, right? So that's what I do with my bits is just throw them into a container. For the Fort V bag, is it still 4 cups of water in the whole bag if you start it in one batch? No, it's one. So the bag is equivalent to 3 parts of soil. That's about 20 to 21 cups, right? So that would be 7 times 3 is 21 cups. We're just going with approximate. So then you'd put about 7 cups of water. So it's 3 parts of dry mix to 1 part water. How did you get the elegant Clarkia to germinate so quickly? We haven't. All of those were Grace Clarkia, not elegant. We are still working on it. I've got some priming in the refrigerator. We have some started in seeds, and y'all will be the first ones to know when it sprouts. How do we get into the gardening club? It's actually the Flower Farmer Club. It's for people that are, anybody can join it, but it's focused on lots of potential people starting a business. And you can get on the wait list. It's on my website. I do a master class a month, a podcast that's private in there. We do a live get together once a month, and we do a weekly sewing circle together. So you can go to the website and go under online courses, and the club is right there. I planted Didiscus January 1st, no germination. Can I resow? Yes. Or have I missed my very early window? So your last frost date is the same as mine. So we just sowed our Didiscus. I think it was one of the last ones that we've sown. So no, I would say no, it is not too late. Go for it. Besides straw flowers, what else do you succession plant from the very early spring group, and what are the number of weeks between those? So it's the number of weeks between any succession planting really boils down to how many flowers do you need. When we were high production, we successioned every 4 weeks. We did nothing but plant and start seeds, cut flowers, and sell flowers. But if you don't need that many, you would stretch it out to maybe 8 weeks. Straw flowers, we would plant 4 to 6 weeks, successions, 2 or 3 more times. The only other thing that comes to memory are 2 other things that I succession planted that had decent growing, even though we were heading into spring, meaning you're planting them later than what we say the cool flower concept is the only Sweet William that I do this with is the Amazon series. I would do it with that. And then we do Bupleurum according to that hack that I was talking about, that's on that video, where we would do a couple more successions of those because we always need good foliage. Can you start ranunculus using soil blocking? I don't believe so, but I have never grown ranunculus, and that's a little corm. So that wouldn't work very well or very conveniently, I think. What do you do about helmet head seedlings? I want to pick them like a scab. I'm there with you. Depends on what it is. Back when I wasn't so busy, I would just snip them off with a pair of Joyce Chen scissors. But once I got busy, kind of ignored them, and guess what? New sprouts came from the base of the stem, so I don't do anything. But you can snip them off. When seedlings are moved to the grow light, how far away should the light be? That 100% depends on your light, what kind of light. There's many different kinds nowadays. I like T5s because they get a little bit warmer, but you can't have them but so close or they'll cook your seedlings. You see if your light gives you instructions on that. If not, experiment closely. I like the warm, but you can't have it too close. I have rock phosphate. How would it turn into powder? Because you buy it that way. I can't even tell you the number of people, because that's the way it's most obviously available, is in granules. It has to totally be pulverized so that it can be digested by the soil to benefit seedlings. And so all the recipe is right on our website under resources on how to make your own at home. It's a 50-50 mix of the green sand and rock phosphate powder. I did that. Can I start cool flowers now? I didn't start last fall. You have fall, y'all. I'm telling you, it seems we always put the cart before the horse. The first thing you have to figure out is when are you supposed to plant warm season and cool season annual flowers, right? And that's where the calendar and my book, the Cut Flower Handbook, the 2 of those together, you'll rule the garden world. Once you have those 2 resources and you read them, there'll be a quick read and it'll all of a sudden the light switch will go off. So I don't know if it's too late for you because I don't know what your frost date is, but that's exactly what the calendar will guide you. Y'all, I'm telling you, it's like you want to say to people, you just don't know what you don't know yet. And when you know, you're going to say, why in the world did I not do this 6 years ago? Honestly, it's just so simple once you figure it out. And, we've created the resources for you, a calendar and the Cut Flower Handbook for flower growing. You'll have everything that you need, right? So my friends, I think that's a wrap. And thank you all so much for joining me. Hope to see you back on Wednesday. And until we meet, my friends, please get a calendar and the Cut Flower Handbook. And you may not even need